From Red Zone Weather in Bruton, Alabama, with meteorologist Spinks Megginson. Severe weather coverage starts right now.
Tropical Storm Arthur in the Gulf set to bring impacts to parts of Alabama, Northwest Florida, Mississippi, and Louisiana over the next 24 to 36 hours. A lot to talk about this evening. Right now, the center of Tropical Storm Arthur is actually very near the Texas coast, near Galveston, but all of the thunderstorm action and rain associated with Arthur is located about 100 miles to the east of there in the Gulf of Mexico. While the center of Arthur is going to continue to move just like this to the northeast, the convection is as well. And so what that means, we're going to have quite a few showers and thunderstorms, to say the absolute least, over the next 24 to 36 hours. We could have flash flooding in parts of the local area as we get into Thursday, and all across the region, we have a low-end tornado risk kicking off in the overnight hours across West Alabama, expanding to the entire region as we get into your Thursday. First thing I want to do is take you through what's happening now. This is a look at the regional radar composite. We have had a few showers across the local area over the last few hours. There was a tornado warning earlier for parts of Coffee County, Alabama, including areas near Enterprise. Right now, the center of Tropical Storm Arthur is very near Houston and Galveston in Texas. The center of the storm right here near Galveston Bay, and you can see there's not very much rain around the center of circulation. A tropical storm warning is in effect from High Island, Texas, back over to Morgan City, Louisiana. There could be tropical storm force wind gusts in this area near Lake Charles, Louisiana over the next little bit. Showers in progress across parts of the local area, brief showers, but we have some heavier rain action to our west in progress across parts of southeast Mississippi and Louisiana at this point. Rain set to increase in the overnight hours, especially across West Alabama, and I think that heavy rain and flash flooding will probably be the biggest hazards of concern due to the remnants of Arthur coming our way over the next 24 to 36 hours. But in addition to the heavy rain and flash flooding threat, I'm also concerned about a low-end tornado potential, and we're going to break this up into two zones. The first thing I want to do is show you the overnight zone. This is a look valid at of the convective outlook, I should say, valid until 6 a.m. tomorrow morning. And so we have a low-end level 1 out of 5 tornado risk, basically for areas west of the Tombigbee River, including parts of Choctaw, Washington, Clark, and Mobile counties. Here in southwest Alabama, you've also got a chunk of southeast Mississippi and Louisiana, a slightly higher level 2 out of 5 tornado risk overnight tonight for New Orleans and southeast Mississippi, along with eastern Louisiana. So that's a look at the convective outlook through 6 a.m. tomorrow morning. So this gets us through the overnight hours. If you are east of Mobile, you're in the general thunderstorm zone, and that means that widespread severe weather is not anticipated. Could there be a tornado, say, in northwest Florida overnight? Yeah, it could happen, but the overall odds of it happening are much lower compared to places back to the west. And so not as concerned about these brief spin-up tornadoes overnight as I am on Thursday. We could have more in the way of brief spin-up tornadoes on Thursday. So again, we're talking about the overnight hours. Could have spotty showers and thunderstorms across the region. We'll be keeping you posted as needed in the Red Zone Weather app. There's the heavier rain. It's approaching our region in the morning around 4 or 5 o'clock, especially across West Alabama. You may be dry in the morning around 6 a.m. if you're in places like Andalusia and Opp, but rain is on the way later in the morning, especially for our local area. That look is valid at 11 a.m. and there's noon. You see, especially across our inland counties, those heavier rain bands going to set up as the remnant core of Arthur begins to move in from the southwest. And so I'm most concerned about flash flooding in these counties up here: Washington, Clark, Monroe, Conecuh, Escambia, Alabama, extending into Marengo and Choctaw counties as well. Those are the zones that have the highest risk of flash flooding and tornadoes tomorrow morning. So again, that's the overnight tornado risk: West Alabama, southern Mississippi, east Louisiana. There's the look on Thursday, we all have a low end level 1 out of 5 tornado risk. And this is in place because we could have these brief spin up tornadoes. They probably won't last long, but as I often say, if a tornado affects you and your family, it's a big deal. And so have a way to hear warnings. We could have 0 tornadoes, or we could have up to 5 or 6 tomorrow. And it's just so important, even if these are brief, weak tornadoes. I hate the term weak tornado because all tornadoes are strong and can cause damage. But I am expecting the tornadoes tomorrow to be on the weaker end of the spectrum. In other words, those winds in the tornadoes probably will be less than 100 miles an hour in most cases. But hey, if that affects you, it's a big deal. So a low-end tornado risk, this is actually the entire convective outlook. Damaging straight-line winds possible across the region as well in the strongest of the storms. There's the actual breakdown of the tornado risk on Thursday. So if you are in this green zone, and all of South Alabama and Northwest Florida is, by the way, you're included in the low-end tornado risk specifically on Thursday after 6 a.m. So we all have to have a way to hear urgent weather warnings, not only tonight before we go to sleep, but also during the daytime hours of Thursday. Now, speaking of Thursday, this is how the radar may look tomorrow afternoon and evening. We could end up having a band of showers and thunderstorms kind of push in from the northwest. The remnant center of Arthur would be up here, and so this would be on kind of the southern periphery of that. We could have damaging straight-line winds and a few tornadoes embedded in this line of thunderstorms if it happens just like this. It may not happen just like this, but this is one idea on the table. Again, scattered showers and thunderstorms as we get into the middle part of the day, and then this big band of storms would be coming through tomorrow evening, potentially between, say, 4 p.m. and 10 p.m. And so this is going to be a day tomorrow when we have multiple zones involved where we could see a few tornadoes and not only tornadoes, but damaging straight-line winds and flash flooding if these storms start training over the same areas. I think that flash flooding and heavy rain probably going to end up being the #1 hazard of concern for our local area, as upwards of 5 to 6 inches of rain expected across a big chunk of the local area, and that's why we have an ongoing flood watch for all local counties valid until Friday. Now, even though the tornado risk is going to go away after tomorrow evening, we're still going to have heavy rain at times on Friday. And so a flood watch is in place for all local counties valid until Friday evening. Now, this is something that we don't normally show, and I realize these colors can be a bit confusing because these are the same colors that the National Weather Service uses for their convective outlook, but this is actually the flash flood outlook valid for tomorrow. And we have a moderate risk of flash flooding for basically everyone across our local area except right there at the beaches. So pretty much everyone is involved in the moderate risk of flash flooding, not only on Thursday, but then again on Friday. We have a fairly substantial flash flooding risk setting up over the next 2 days due to the remnant circulation of Arthur passing by our local area. So could have a few tornadoes, could have heavy rain that leads to flash flooding. And also, don't forget about our coastal hazards. Double red flags are now flying at several local beaches, meaning the Gulf is closed. You can't get in the water, or you could face possible fines or even an arrest. You don't want that, obviously. And these significant wave heights out over the Gulf, we're talking wave heights of 8 feet coming in with Arthur over the next couple of days as this system moves by the center, or remnant center will be on land, obviously, but big time waves, especially out in the Gulf. You don't need to be out in the Gulf in a boat by any stretch of the imagination, and you certainly don't want to be out in that rough surf and those rip currents over the next few days. So here's your next 7 days. Folks wondering about the weekend. Yes, we're going to have scattered showers and thunderstorms around, but quite frankly, it's going to be a different story than what happens over the next 48 hours. Those rain chances on Thursday and Friday going to be quite high, and then I think we're going to transition to more of a pop-up storm situation on Saturday. So a lot of folks are asking me, should you cancel plans for Saturday? The answer is probably not. I certainly wouldn't cancel plans just yet. We're going to have scattered storms, but it's not going to be an all-day washout. on Saturday. Now, it remains to be seen over the next 48 hours, do we get enough rain to cause river and creek flooding? That is a possibility, but again, it's going to depend on where these rain bands associated with Tropical Storm Arthur or the remnants of Arthur set up, and that's something we're going to be watching and keeping you posted about in the Red Zone Weather app. Scattered storms likely on Sunday ahead of lower rain chances next week, but there's going to be hotter temperatures in place by the time we get to Monday and Tuesday. So there's Arthur, the center of circulation very near Galveston, Texas this evening. But again, all the action is displaced to the east of the center. Why is that? It's because we have high wind in the upper levels of the atmosphere called shear, ripping this thing apart. So that atmospheric shear is really kind of a blessing in the sense that it's keeping the storm under control and it's not going to become a hurricane. There's basically no chance of that happening, as the shear in here is just too strong for the storm to sustain any convection near that center of circulation. And so, yes, there's going to be rain, heavy rain at times, maybe some flash flooding, maybe a few tornadoes, but no, it's not going to become a hurricane. Before we leave you, I do want to give you the latest information from the National Hurricane Center. Right now, you've got the center of Arthur right here near Galveston Bay in Texas, 29.4 north, 94.9 west. It's moving northeast at about 8 miles per hour, just like that. And so keep in mind, it's basically already on shore at this point, basically straddling the coast. Going to be near Lake Charles, Louisiana by the time we wake up tomorrow morning. Minimum central pressure is up to 1,000 millibars and maximum sustained winds are at 40. And so again, this is not going to become a hurricane, and I wouldn't be shocked if the National Hurricane Center declares Arthur as a remnant low pressure area by the time we get to tomorrow in the middle part of the day. But for our local area, the headline remains the same. We could have flash flooding at times due to 5, 6, maybe 7 inches of rain, lower rain amounts closer to the beaches, maybe a few brief tornadoes, especially as we get into the daytime hours of your Thursday. I will have plenty of updates posted in the Red Zone Weather app over the next couple of days. If you have specific questions, let me know about it in the comments below. Hope you have a wonderful Wednesday evening.
Be sure to find us across social media, and don't forget to download the free Red Zone Weather app and set up your customized alerts. Please support our Red Zone Weather sponsors who make our coverage possible every single day.